All right. Welcome back, beautiful people, to the podcast. Today, I'm joined by Fernando. He's a veteran in the industry. He's been here for about a year now. We're going to dive in a little bit and ask him some questions, pick his brains and whatnot. And then on the other side of the table, we've got Shadi Gharfeh. He's been around for a little while now. You guys might know him. He does a thing or two in the life insurance industry.
A little bit.
So, gentlemen, I'm just going to kind of be here in the middle of things, kind of bouncing things kind of between you two. Really, Shadi, your perspective is always appreciated, but I know today we're kind of focusing on Fernando and really what you've done in the last year. I know it's been, from what Shadi was explaining, kind of like a ramp up for you.
Oh yeah.
Break it down for us. What did that look like when you first started? You got your license, and then how long before you sold a policy? Now, where are you? What's today look like?
Well, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
So it started. He came to my house as my agent.
Okay.
And he sold me a policy, and ever since then, he talked to me about getting started. Sure. Got started. It was exciting.
Sure.
And it was a little rocky,
Sure. Had you done anything like this before?
Never done it before in my life.
Gotcha. So this was like fresh, brand new for you. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So, I'm the type of guy that I put my mind to something.
Yeah.
And I do it. Okay. I'm not a quitter. So people who are trying to get into this, if you're a quitter,
yeah,
it's not for you.
Fair.
So,
yeah, you almost have to be stubborn enough not to give up in this industry, right?
100%.
Especially when you're first getting started, because it is hard. What would you say, maybe for new agents, was the hardest thing for you to kind of overcome? Because you didn't have any experience. You didn't really have anything to kind of fall back on. What was it that kind of motivated you to kind of get going? Obviously, you had a great mentor in Shadi, but you have to be the one to kind of dig deep and tell yourself, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this. What was it for you? What was your why?
The why was I have a big family, and I like to take care of people. Okay. So the fact that, I'm helping people out was my main thing. Sure. I'm a religious man, and, I use that to my advantage to talk to people. And sure. But
connect,
yeah. I mean, it was tough. The objections were really,
sure.
To overcome that at the beginning.
Yeah.
When you're not used to it.
Right.
But, after you get your first policy sold, you get a little bit of, confidence, you get going. Yeah. It took a couple months to get going, but it was tough, okay. But it was exciting.
Yeah. And I'm sure you had somebody to lean on during those times where
he's always there.
Things got a little bit hard. Yeah. Is that kind of fair to say?
100%.
Let me ask you this, Shadi. So you do a really good job of bringing on quality talent. I think you're a quality over quantity kind of guy.
100%.
I would much rather have one guy and go to war with him. I mean, I know he's a killer versus, 100, no disrespect, but janitors that, they're going to fight with their broomsticks and, not really do anything for the cause.
My thing on that is when I first started in this industry, I was hiring everybody I talked to. And that was a tough thing I actually ran through, because I recruited hundreds of people, dude, but then only 20 that are really working. It kind of it got my attention that, I'm not here to sell you, because I was more of trying to sell people why they should work here.
Sure.
Now I'm in a position where, or not position, but I figured out that if you can actually tell me why I should let you work here, sure. And if you're someone that we can trust, that you're gonna work hard, you're not gonna roll up debts, right. Then I'm gonna work with you.
Keep there.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, if I'm taking you aboard with me, I'm taking full responsibility over you. I'm responsible for your debts if you don't pay it. So sure. I am gonna, I'm gonna be, very, stuck with you, sure. Until you actually make sure that you're doing the right thing.
Makes sense. Yeah. I admit too, in the beginning, I was a little nonchalant about recruiting and who I brought on, because it's an amazing opportunity. You kind of want to just share it with everybody. We get to help people all day long. We're paid handsomely for it. Oh, yeah. And I've had the privilege of working in all sorts of industries, and this one here, we're working from the neck up and some AC. It's an absolute privilege to work in this industry.
100%.
What I'm curious about, I already know you, but what was it that maybe you saw in Fernando that you thought I'm going to help him get some coverage, but also I'm going to extend the invite too. And that, hey, I think you would actually be a really good agent as well.
Good point. Well, I walk into his house. He was actually working in the garage, painting, doing something for like a side hustle, side business. So I figured that he's a hardworking person, and that's someone that's, and then the other thing that attracted me to him is he actually is a family guy, right? I can tell that how much he loves his family, and that's something that I'm very, and I like this kind of, somebody that, love their family that much, right? Sure. And the third thing that actually got me attracted as well into introducing him to this opportunity is, his religion. He's very religious and very honest, with things. He's not, he's not a player or anything like a lot of other people that you meet with, where they, what we always say, buyers are liars, right?
Sure.
And, buyers usually lie to you. 90% of the time, Fernando was one of the 10% of those people that didn't lie.
Sure.
Right? And you can tell, like when you're in the sales industry for a long time, you can tell if somebody's lying to you or not just by them like saying whatever they say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Body language, tonality.
Everything. You can tell. And so those are, the thing that I picked up on when I was at his house, which actually got me, interested in bringing him aboard with us. And I shared with him the opportunity. And the way I did it with him actually was more of like, hey, don't give me a decision. Just come to the training.
Gotcha.
Right?
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just don't give me no decision.
Left it open.
Yeah. Just come to the training. Look at what we do. You like it? We'll sign you up. You don't like it? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we still love you, right? And he did come to the training the next day, or was it like 2 days later or something like that? And he liked it, and we reconnected, and we got it done.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, some standout traits there for sure. I'm assuming you would kind of agree with all of the above, Fernando.
Yeah. He came to my house on a Friday.
Okay.
Talked to me about it. I literally couldn't sleep all weekend. I was so excited.
Oh, okay.
Monday came.
Sure.
I was here.
Nice. Okay.
It was great.
Oh, yeah.
So that sounds like an opportunity for me.
I took a jump and I didn't look back.
That's good, man. I truly believe that's what it takes. I know that's what I did, so I'm like nodding my head over here in agreement, because it is. You have to. It's an all-in situation. You cannot do this job, dare I say, part-time. It just doesn't work. Like it's just the way that it's all set up. You need to write enough business to balance the books, and if you're doing this halfway out, and your heart's truly not in it, I would suggest
I could vouch for that because I was there.
Right,
I did it.
What is it? Actually, let's take a step back. So right before you got your license, so you come to this meeting here, chat with Shadi. He sells you the world. You're like, all right, cool. I'm interested. Tell us about, okay, you go and get your license, go through the motions. But I know there was a period of time where you weren't quite moving. And from what I understand, you were employed. And then at one point you weren't employed. What happened? What transpired? And then kind of how did that segue from what you were doing then and then moving into life insurance?
So I'll bring it back a little bit because he was actually honest with me about the industry.
Gotcha.
So more or less wanted to scare me.
Yeah.
To make sure I was really fit to come here.
Sure. Yeah. Good
so
idea.
he told me the truth about it.
Yeah.
And I still was like, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Sure. Real quick, not to cut you off. What would you say is what was at the top of your list in terms of what freaked you out the most? What kind of made you think like,
In terms of?
Well, where you were like, okay.
Coming fully?
Yeah, where he was fully truthful about what this is. Because we can sell you on all the good parts of the industry, right? But what was it that kind of made you think, Just because other agents probably have some doubt in the back of their mind as well. Was there anything that kind of stood out for you?
No.
Everything looked like green light go.
Yeah, I was all in.
Beautiful.
I was all in.
Wow. Okay.
Wanting to come, but not full time.
Fair. Okay.
So that's where I was kind of. I have a big family. I have 6 kids.
Right. Oh wow.
So I was scared to just come full fledged.
Sure.
I had a salary job where I had a guaranteed income.
Right.
To go to a job where I don't have. I come with no paycheck every day.
Different, yeah.
So I have to make my paycheck.
Yes.
So it was scary, but ever since I got fired from my job, it was actually a blessing in disguise.
Interesting. So you just kind of used that as the catapult. You're like, okay, this is gonna be I mean, it almost was a sign from God. I mean, I hate to.
It was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It definitely was.
It felt like it. It sounds like it.
If I didn't get fired, I'd probably still be doing it.
Fair. Right.
100%. He actually
isn't it interesting that that's kind of like how life works? Sometimes we're forced into an ultimatum and we got to make a decision. And yeah, truly a blessing. God was like, no, now it's your time right now.
It's my time.
I'm sending you the signs.
What I would say to anyone else, don't be scared. I mean, I did it. I lived it. If you put your mind to it and you really work hard at it, you're going to be successful. You know, the only way you quit or lose is by giving up.
Quit. Yeah.
If you continue to just trust the process and go forward, it's going to do itself.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. And
you'd agree as well, Shadi.
He called me actually, and he was like, "Shadi, I got fired, so
I guess I'm doing this.
I think I'm doing this now full time. I'll do whatever it takes."
Right.
So I'm like, "Okay, man. Well, first thing I'm gonna tell you is congrats on being fired." And
he said it literally.
Awesome.
He laughed on that, and then I was like, "All right, let's get you going so you can start making money."
Right.
And that same day, he actually submitted. Well, not submitted, but got approved. Submitted, I think, a couple days, whatever, or a week ago. But he got a 21K policy approved.
That's so good.
That same day.
It's like exactly what you want for a new, a new agent, but for to go all in and then
get a nice little check out of it. It's pretty nice. So
it's like, wait, this actually works. I can do this. Like you said earlier, this level of confidence inside of you just skyrockets. Oh, I got this. If I can do it once, I can do it 1,000 times.
Yeah,
it's so funny, man. I mean, we get people into the team. And I'm not saying Fernando wasn't really that nervous, but we get people here that are very nervous, and I can name them out a little bit here. We got like Raquel, and we had
Shout out
Josh.
to Raquel.
It's like all them. They come in. Confidence level really low at first.
Right.
I remember Raquel when she came in, she was sitting on the desk, over there, and she was like, like all by herself, so red, like didn't want to talk to me, and or Josh, like he calls my staff and he's like, "Hey Brian, I want to book an appointment with Shadi," and when I called him out, he was super nervous on the phone. I'm like, dude, you don't need to book an appointment. You just pick up the phone, call me. I'm gonna help you. But but like what I'm trying to get at, you see their nervous level or their be like the confidence level right here, and then like couple months down the road, they start like the confidence level start going higher, because of the opportunity we have here. It's not just a job.
Agreed.
Okay, it's an actual business, and if you wanna get paid as a business, you have to treat it like a business.
True.
If you wanna get paid as a hobby, you treat it as a hobby. But here's the thing: you're not gonna last, right? And if you wanna treat it as an employee, you're also not gonna last, because who the heck gonna do all this work and get paid low because you're as an employee, right? So
couldn't have said it better myself.
Exactly. So you just gotta have that mentality, knowing that, hey, I'm gonna invest into my business. I'm gonna do this right. I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
It's gonna be uncomfortable, but I'm gonna do it.
Exactly. Yeah. My point is no matter what happens, you gotta be very direct, with it, and not being afraid of making mess.
Right.
And by making messes is by taking taking lessons.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
There's plenty to be learned in all of your failures, right?
100%. Every day.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know in your earlier stages too, like you went through those motions, you messed up. You weren't always this insurance god. There was a point in time where you had to go back and clean up your mess.
That was not fun, though.
Right.
It was not fun. I took a big hit on it.
But what's good about that is that he can use that as a testimony to new agents that come along.
100%.
They're like, hey, I've been there. I've done it.
Sure.
So everything you're going through, I can, attest to it.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
And they think they're coming at him with something new.
Right.
That's what's funny. Because they see the numbers now and they're like, yeah, well, Shadi's always been good kind of thing. And
that's right.
He's always produced, but, good is subjective. Now it's like, wow, talk about a transformation. And it's all because of the commitment, right? That you've had these last 2-3 years where you've just committed entirely to this.
Yeah, 100%.
And now you see it. And then Fernando, now you, man, like here you are a year later. What would you say maybe looks the most different for you, feels different? Where are you at now, from a year ago? We're coming up on October, right? That's a year for you. Yeah, like how much more excited are you now than you were then?
I'm so much happier with my life. I'm no
huge.
longer a slave to a job.
Right. Salary.
To a salary.
Yeah.
Right. I'm in control of my own destiny.
Yeah, I like that.
I make my own money, my own hours. I'm in control of my future.
Sure.
Okay. It's just great.
Right. As simple as that. Yeah. It doesn't really need any much more explanation. I mean, that's the truth. Going back to what Shadi was saying a little bit earlier, the level of investment that you have to have, it's not a hobby, but a job. It's almost like a lifestyle because the way in which it's intertwined, right? Like we're working, we're setting our schedules, but we're also I don't say balancing because there's no real balance with, it's not 50-50 work, 50 life. But with this job, it allows us to work here and then set that aside and fully be present 100% within our families, not truly have to sacrifice much because the time is there and we can choose to take off whatever time that might be. If we're doing well and doing our job, we're also getting paid very well and therefore have the ability to bring in the income that would be needed to fund all of these things that we want to do with our family.
That's right.
And for them, right? Starting to create this legacy. I think that's why we all kind of really
not just
our
families, we're helping other families.
Yes, yeah.
With their dreams and their goals.
100%. And in so many ways, right? It's you directly affecting Bob and Mary by getting them a policy and then their children and their grandchildren. But also, too, you're being paid for the work that you're doing. That money's coming back to you. You're then able to provide for your family.
Yep.
And if you want to go further with it, whatever you've accumulated now in terms of your knowledge, you can share that with an agent that's coming on board, help him or her provide for their family, provide for the next Bob and Mary. It's just this trickling effect. And I truly feel like I've been consumed by it and just I don't want to say let it run my life, but it is a very, very large part of my life. And now that I've tapped into like Medicare and other parts of the industry where I can just be a one-stop shop for a family, I pride myself on it and almost walk around just kind of boasting it. And I know you guys too, very well educated, got your licenses. I know you guys focus on IULs, which is something maybe we'll dive into here, right? I know a lot of us, me personally, I cut my teeth on final expense. IULs weren't exactly at the forefront for me, but now that you've been in the industry for a year, a little bit longer now as well, you guys have tweaked how you're approaching your business, right? You're in pursuit of a different clientele, right? Those that are interested in setting themselves up for retirement in a unique way. And I'll let you guys kind of touch on that.
Yeah.
Shadi, if you want to kind of.
Sure. I would give one comment on, you mentioned something about, having the time, I would say, yes, you can have that. And this one thing that's amazing about this business, you can have the freedom. But I would commit first 3 months into it 100% before.
Yeah, that's really good. Yes, you're right.
Before you consider start taking times off.
Sure.
And that's one thing that because you have to remember what we do is IULs, right? And really, if you start getting really good checks with IUL like 90 days in, you're not going to really get the good checks right away because most of your business is going to be pending.
Right.
Right?
It's in the pipeline, right?
Exactly.
It's not quite.
So all you're doing is filling up the pipeline. 2-3 months in, if you do like 100%, now you can start, leaping a little bit off, days off here, days off there, and you can still do things, a little bit different. But that's one comment I would give on that part.
No, you make a really good point. And just to kind of attest to that was actually something you shared with me when I had first started. I remember we went to go get lunch. It was myself, you. I think Quentin was with us.
Quentin.
Yeah, Q. What up, Q? Shout out to Q. And I think there was somebody else. But leaving lunch, I had asked, right, Shadi, like, when do I get paid? Like, when does this really start to kick off? And he's like, just take that out of your mind. Like, you need to give 60, 90 days to this business in order to see anything kind of come back. Because right now you're going through the motions. You got to buy your leads. As soon as you get paid for the first policy you sell, some of that money is going back to pay down that debt cost of those leads, right? And another portion of that's going towards a new purchase for leads or marketing, whatever that is. So don't expect this huge, cash flow, if you will. But I think it's really good to set expectations because in that moment, when you told me, I was no longer thinking, okay, I'm going to be rich next month kind of thing. I understood that this is going to take time. It's like a garden here. I have to plant these seeds and tend to them and water them. Slowly but surely over time, we'll start to build what we're trying to build here. And that put me at ease for sure.
100%, and I say that same thing for, and obviously Josh, we spoke with Josh, I believe, last time. And Josh, he's in the same boat. I mean, he came in here and he didn't have, all the money in the world, but he did have the faith.
Okay.
And that's something that
you need.
Exactly. He had the faith in the system. He had the faith in, and here's the thing, about me personally, I give what's right. So, obviously, you come in here, you put 100% of your time and effort into this. I'm going to put 100% of my time and effort in you, right?
Sure.
I will help you do whatever it takes to make it happen for you.
Yeah.
And Josh, he's one of the guys who put in 100%. Josh actually called me. Well, I remember the first time, like I said, he did.
Right. He booked
he wanted to book an appointment, and I called him like, dude, no appointment needed. You can just call me, right? But him and I, we communicated a couple of times. He came to the training here, 2.5 hours away. He came from Gainesville, and he called me one time. He was like, Shadi, I'm moving down to Orlando because I want to be next to you when you're selling your appointments. I want to learn from you, and I'm gonna copy everything you do.
Right.
I'm like, sure. Like, he literally moved down here just to copy everything I do.
Genius move.
And right now, he went from, issuing, 10, 15K a month
grinding,
to 50,000 per month.
Final expense. Yeah.
No, but right now he does 50.
Prior to.
Yes.
Just to kind of emphasize that.
So he literally went from, here to here, and all he's doing is copying everything I do.
Sure.
Yeah. Everything I say, he's copying that, and now he got to the, he's about to hit 50K. He should pay this month.
That's so exciting. Yeah.
So those are the things that I really look for is people are willing to work really as hard as Josh, Fernando, Rula's working too. We have Mo working. Mo is, he's not selling anymore because he's fully focused on recruiting, for example, but he's great at it.
Okay.
I sat down with him and his team to train his team on how to sell and teaching them a couple, things about sales tactic and all that. And
very cool.
Dude, no kidding, they were there. There were, there like 12 people there. I'm like, I don't know any one of them, and they're my team. Awesome. But the beauty behind it is, I love the culture, and that the main thing is when you have a culture within our team, like Fernando and I, we didn't just, became partners. We became friends.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're locked in. Like this is like the next few years kind of thing. There's
exactly.
No, like, you better like the people you work with, right?
100%. Because we locked into it. We're working together, right? I'm going to help him. He's helping me. We're helping each other, right? And it's exactly. It's connecting. We're connecting here, right? We're connected in a lot of ways. And same thing with Josh. Same thing with you. I mean, you and I, even if we're not the same team, we're connected too.
Always, it's always been like that. I mean, I do feel like this industry has that. Everybody's at arm's length in terms of who's willing to kind of help you. You just need to pick up the phone, give them a call, send them a text.
Yeah,
there's help and support all around. I will admit, I feel like you guys have a very tight knit culture, which is awesome. I've had the privilege of kind of sitting and enjoying, I guess on a deeper level, like I get to enjoy the day-to-day with you guys. There was a time I was in this office a little bit more often, and it was a day-to-day thing. But even now I come in here, and even if it's only a few times a week, I see what you guys have going on. And I think that's the strength of the team, truly, right? Mm-hmm. When one person's not having a good day and somebody else is, there's this energy that can be exchanged to refuel that next guy or girl, and vice versa. But it's also the small things too, whether it's like training sessions or, hey, I'm going to go grab lunch for everybody. There's a sense of a true camaraderie. And I do feel like in order for you to survive in this, you do need a troop. You need a camp. You need a tribe. To try and do this on your own, like lone wolf style, it's almost punishing to yourself 100%. To do it. You're running in circles. Even with a great mentor or somebody that could give you all the advice in the world, you need to be in an environment that's constantly grooming you. Yeah. Right? Yeah, truthfully. What else would you kind of add to that, Fernando? Like now that you've kind of experienced that, what's kind of helped you excel?
Working in the office more. Yeah.
Coming in. Have you tried working from home at all? Or?
I have. I still call Shadi every once in a while.
Fair.
Yeah. But being across the office arm's length away when I have a question. Sure. Oh my gosh.
Right. It's extremely
helpful.
Right. Yeah, you resolve it right then and there. You can move forward versus like sitting at that stop sign for a day or two and then moving forward.
Oh, come on. That's not a day or two. I mean,
no, but he never left me like I felt like I was on an island. If I called, he answered.
Sure. Yeah.
And he always helped me.
The least you could do. Yep. But it means everything to the new agent, to the guy or girl who's needing that help. That's awesome. Okay.
100%. I mean, you gotta commit to that, especially if you start recruiting, man. I mean,
sure.
A lot of people think that recruiting is more of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit back and do nothing. And no,
sure.
It doesn't work this way. It actually requires a lot of work, requires you being on the phone and answering questions and making sure that the agents are not messing up too. Sure. There's a lot behind it, right? But the one thing is if you have a good connection, okay? Look, I bring in a lot of people now, and I put it this way. For example, Fernando, I don't even look at his numbers. I don't care, right? Sure. He's selling good. I know he's selling good. He calls me, be like, hey, Shadi, where I'm at for the week. Then I'll pull it up, right? But other than that, I don't even pull it up, right? But other people, like when you're newer, I'm gonna look at your numbers, and like if you're coming in, selling 50K out of the blue, we have a problem.
Sure. Right.
That's not realistic. You're doing something
Either
wrong.
a good one or a really bad one.
Exactly. So you're gonna give me an explanation on how you did that.
Sure.
Right. Sure. And then otherwise I'm gonna have a problem with you.
Sure.
And
those good business.
Exactly. And it happened. I had a guy rolled up big debts to me. So, and that's the one thing is, you're just gonna have to realize, hey, this is, what's best. Obviously look up for the agent, make sure that you're helping them out and all that fun stuff. But yeah, look after your business too, and sure. Give it your magic touch on how things needs to be done, and vouch for your agents as they need to, and
sure,
get things going. So
I like that. What would you say your agents have taught you? Right, you're at a point in this industry where like from a production standpoint, like. I don't want to say there's nothing to teach you anymore, but you're at a point where you're doing extremely well from a production standpoint. Obviously, you can branch out, but what is it that keeps you humble? And more than anything, what is it that your agents kind of do for you? Because clearly you do a ton for them. So
a couple of things I do different than maybe a lot of people is I'm not cheap with my agents, sure. And I'm not cheap in a way of. I do start them out on a higher comp than anywhere else. And the reason I do that, I believe in the opportunity. I believe in that, be selfish on my end, not share an opportunity like that with someone who actually needs a good opportunity to grow in their life. Right. So that's one. I believe in that, the culture. You gotta be a culture player, be, someone who's willing to go above and beyond. To make things right. So I believe in culture.
I think, for what it's worth, I think you've set up a great team culture.
Oh, yeah. And 100%. And then I do a lot of one-on-one with a lot of my agents. Okay. It's not always just the most important part that I like the most is I don't see myself better than them at all. Yeah. And I know a lot of agency out there, without or agents or agency owner. They see themselves like, hey, I'm above you. You do as I say, kind of mentality.
Right.
I don't see myself that way at all. I look at myself as just I'm as equal as they are. We all work together to grow this, Sure. And it's not about me better than you better than me. We're still learning from each other. I'm still learning from my agents, every day. Sure. Learn something new, Sure. And they're learning. We're all learning. It just, that's why one of the things is I never recruit someone who comes here and be like, I know everything. I'm the top. I'm like right. All right, that's good, man. Have a great day. That's not a great fit for you.
Right. Quickly be done with it.
100%. Sure. If somebody comes in humble about it, like, oh yeah, man, I sold cars and I sold this, but
sure.
I'm not that great at it. I'm hoping to learn. Those kind of people I'm looking for.
Yeah, coachable.
Right? Exactly.
Open-minded. Yeah. You kind of have to. I can imagine it. Yeah. One thing, just to that point, I think one of the most refreshing things about you is just that, is like you're able to absolutely kill it, but maintain a level head. Like I've never seen, there's not an arrogant bone in your body. And I don't know if that's just your upbringing. I don't know if that's you. I don't know if that's just discipline. But I will say I've seen the opposite, and that's not attractive. Nobody wants to work with that guy. Who cares if you have all the money in the world and you're a top producer? If you don't have no integrity. Yeah, if you don't have any integrity, if you're not somebody I desire to work with, like, no. But here you are again. I don't like the word humble, because if you look it up, it's not exactly a glorifying word. But yes, there's not an ounce of arrogance. You seem like you're always open-minded, and you're listening to the feedback from your agents, and then you're pouring it right back out to them, which I think is truly admirable from a leadership standpoint. I think that's why your culture does so well, why you guys stay consistent, right? Like, your agents are staying constantly producing, right? It's because of what you've created. I think it'd be worth sitting down with you and just kind of having a podcast on that in itself. Like, what did you kind of put together to ensure, what is it that you do maybe on a month-to-month basis to ensure that all of your agents' needs are met? Everything from, I know you help them with leads from time to time. You'll take them out to dinners. You sent Josh to Hawaii after he produced a certain amount. Like, there's so many incentives to working with you, outside of just your humble nature and character, that I can see why. I mean, it's almost a no-brainer, right?
It's, the way I look at it, man, it's if you and again, religiously, I believe in that, if you want to be blessed in life, you got to bless others too. And you can't expect all the blessing in the world but not bless others.
Yeah, that's
big. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. If you really think about it this way, is if you cut yourself, or, and you cut me, you're going to see the same color blood. You're not going to see it purple or blue. Sure. It's going to be red, right? Yeah. When God created us, he created us all equal. Right. He didn't create, me with smarter than you, or you smarter than me, or I have an extra set of arms here, or right. No, we all are human beings, right? And, whatever I can do in my life, it doesn't matter what it is. You can do it. He can do it.
Sure.
It's a matter of, not ability, but desire. Right? We all have the same ability. It's a matter of desire. Sure. If you come and say, I cannot do this, I'm going to tell you, you're right. You cannot do this, because it's a belief. It's within your head.
Sure.
Right? If you come to me and tell me, I want to learn how to do this, come to the office. Let me teach you.
Right. Simple as that.
Right? But in general, like, it's a matter of, if whether or not, like, you're willing to do the things that's gonna make you uncomfortable. It's not a matter of I can or cannot. It's a matter of I put it this way. My son, okay, a lot of times I ask him to do something on purpose, right? And I do that on the days off. And every time he says the word I can, I'm like, don't say I can't. Go get it done. Every time, right? The word I can't, I don't like it.
Remove it from your dictionary.
Exactly. It's you just gotta do it, sure. Right? Sure. And if you actually take that off your dictionary and just go to work and just be willing to do the uncomfortable stuff, like challenging your client, like, sure. Being on Zoom, sure. First time you're on Zoom, you're on the camera, fixing yourself, and right. Do I look good? And start like checking your hair, even though I don't have no hair, but whatever it is, man, like you're trying to the first time you're on Zoom, you're nervous as hell, like you have no idea what to do,
sure.
But then you realize later on, man, it's not really rocket science,
sure,
right? It's just like I show up however I want to show up on Zoom. I'm just gonna talk. I'm gonna have the verbal judo and the hand movement the whole time. Sure. Letting the client know exactly what we're doing, right? Explain to them how the policy works and what we're doing.
Sure.
And no kidding, guys. I had a client today, and I shared this very quick. Okay, I had a client today that I've sold, and the client literally up front, he was like, "Hey, what's your name again?" I'm like, "My name is Shadi." And he was like, "I want to be honest with you." I'm like, "Please do." And I was like, "I'm not buying anything today." Now, okay. All I want to do is information, and I'm going to take it to my wife, and I'm going to see if she likes it. I'm like, let me ask you something. This about your retirement or hers? Because if it's about hers, then we can have her on the call. Oh, no, it's about mine. I'm like, why would you need her permission to set up your retirement? Yeah, because she's my business partner. I'm like, yeah, she's your business partner, but this is your retirement, right? Like, yeah, I'm like, I'll tell you what we're going to do for you. I'm going to draw an illustration, go over numbers with you, but I'm not going to do it if you're not willing to move forward. But if you promise me, we're going to move forward with an application today. After you like the numbers, I'm not saying give me, Like, you gotta tell me whether you like it or not. We gotta be honest with each other. You tell me, hey, Shadi, if I like the numbers, I'm moving forward. I'm drawing an illustration right now. Mm-hmm. If you tell me no, I'm not, that's fine. We'll just book some different time where you and your wife are available. And the guy stared, I'm like, all right, fine, show me the numbers first. Okay, so if you like it, we can move forward. He said yes. Guess what? He liked it, so we moved forward.
Love it.
Right?
Great story.
So,
okay.
Those are the certain thing that, I do different. People are afraid to challenge their client. They're afraid to challenge their agents in doing stuff, right?
Right.
I throw challenges to my agents all the time. Like, hey, sell this much, I'm going to do this for you. You do this much, I'm going to do this for you. I challenge them all the time on that.
That's awesome. And what you said there, it wasn't like outlandish, right? Like, would you agree, Fernando? Like, everything
it was confidence.
There, right? Yeah. And that's exactly it. You set it up in such a way it was almost hard to step back from it. It's like, well, he does make sense. Like, this is I want my retirement to be what I want it to be. Yep. I don't really need my wife's input. Yeah, let's do this. I am interested in it. I just needed the details, and you're good at that. You walked him through the motions and
100%
got him some coverage. Yeah, not rocket science like you said. It's,
it's not.
It's understanding that process. And
very very self-explanatory, right? Sure. And a lot of times people overcomplicate what we do, and it's not really complicated. Like Brian one time said, he's one of my previous staff here. He said that genius hides behind simplicity. Yeah, and it's pretty cool that he said that. And always it's always in my head now. And the one thing is, you just have to make mistakes, make messes, learn from them, and do it again, and make messes again, and then do it again, and then make mess, and just keep it going.
Scary, Shadi.
I know everything is scary in life, but here's the thing:
right.
Nothing can be scarier than dying.
True.
Right, and we all gonna die one day. So if you're really, it doesn't matter whether it's scary or not. Just go for it. It's not gonna kill you.
True. Right.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if it does kill you, or if it will kill you, just make sure you got some life insurance.
100%. That I agree with you.
So yeah, guys, we've talked about everything under the sun. It seems like life insurance wise, the good, the bad, the ugly. Anything you gentlemen want to kind of add, Fernando? Any tips for new agents? Anything you're really excited about coming up? Any events, training?
I'm just excited about everything coming. Just
this new life of yours. Yeah, it's what it felt like for me, at least. It felt like like I was reborn. I felt like a phoenix.
Definitely.
As cheesy as it might sound. And Shadi, you might agree too. I mean, I know you have a sales background, but it wasn't insurance that you were selling, and this was a new world that you stepped into.
100%. It was very uncomfortable at first, but I figured that if I'm not taking the opportunity, I mean, we were planning on starting a restaurant, my wife and I. So we weren't we had no idea that we were going to get in the insurance industry until Dan Shinadi called me out of the blue on Father's Day. And it was my first Father Day actually too. And I didn't have my phone with me, but I had my watch. So when he called my watch, my phone was dead, so I had to keep it. Yeah, so I gave him my wife number, and Dan was like, wait a second, why do I have to call the guy wife?
It's a little awkward. What's going on here? Maybe.
So good thing he did. He called, and I remember 3 days in, I was dialing, and the guy was like, okay, well, that's not going to work because I'm the guy with an accent trying to dial through some lead that I have no idea.
I remember those days.
The one thing though, I like competitions.
Sure.
And I'm very competitive in a lot of ways, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to, if I have goals in my head, I'll do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Sure.
And even if it's gonna take me, whatever it's gonna take me to do it, I'll do it. Right. And that's what got me successful in this business. Is I took my goal very seriously.
And just went after.
And if I have a goal to hit 50 families or 50K in a week, and if I hit 49, I'm beating myself on it. I'm committed to that $1,000. That means next week I'm gonna have to hit 51.
Love it.
Right.
Yeah. So you take your goals serious. It sounds like
100%.
Set that up, and I think that can be said for your agency as a whole. Like your agents reflect that. And you're setting that up through your culture. This is the standard that we've set for ourselves. I want to make sure that we uphold it.
We have to hold ourselves accountable.
100%, because nobody will hold you accountable.
It's our business.
Yeah.
So you have no one else leading you. You have to lead yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you guys have created this. It almost seems like admittingly, it's tough. I will say that, to wake up every single morning knowing that there's nobody that's going to like fire you or, have words with you if you don't go into the office. You could just take the day off, but to get right in your mind and so much so that like it's just drilled into you. It's second nature. I know I got to get up. I know I got to get to the office. It's best for me. This is where I'm most productive. This is where I'm going to make the dials. I'm going to do all the hard stuff. I'm going to go through the growing pains. It's uncomfortable, but I know I have to do it. And it's necessary. You guys, I see it all the time. New agents coming in, veterans still, being here. This is an industry where more than 90% of people step out of, right, within the first year. So those 100%. That are here a year later, congratulations. Yeah. It's a big deal. I did this podcast with a few agents that made it through their first year, and it was a very exciting moment because I know what that first year looked like. So
it's like hell.
Congratulations. It's like what?
It's like hell for God's sake. First year,
right? Yeah. Going through
terrible.
The motions. Yeah. Well, you made a cool $1 million. So how bad? How bad was it?
Talking about the agent side.
Fair, right? Mentally, I will say it was taxing.
So even though I did really well, and you know what? I'm gonna add something else to this. I did really well in the first year, and that's amazing. But the idea behind, which a lot of people don't understand, is the work that I put in.
Sure.
Okay. I was working 7 days a week, taking 1 day off a month.
Yeah. Traveling between 3 states.
Traveling between Texas, Ohio, and Florida. I was going into people's homes, taking a flight, going to Ohio, rent a car, driving the car in the middle of the country area, up in the snows, be like, I'd be the only. I remember it was a snowstorm. Good thing is, I saw almost everybody I sat down with. The other good thing is I met with everybody because nobody no-showed me. But it's snowstorm. Who the heck is going to be in the street beside me being crazy out in the field, right? I was the only vehicle on the road. Driving like 30 miles per hour on the highway.
Oh, that's too funny.
Trying to, a couple of times the car slid with me and I'm trying to control the car, trying to make it to my next client alive, right? And don't forget, I'm in the middle of the mountains, in the middle of the country, and there's cliffs, like one slide, the car could fall, and I have no cell service. If I would have died, good luck, somebody find me by then. Nobody will ever know who I am, right? What I'm trying to get at is nobody saw that.
Right.
What people really saw is, oh my God, he's on stage. He did over $1 million. He's on stage. I'm like, okay, well, you can do it, but hey, are you willing to, that's why I've said a minute ago, are you willing to do those obstacles?
Sure.
Right? And again, now in our business, we changed things around a little bit. We're doing everything on Zoom, so you don't have to really travel the way I did. Right?
Yeah, you kind of took that bullet for everybody.
Exactly.
Like, you know what? We need to find a better way of doing
100%,
this. I need to provide a better life for my agents.
Yeah, so now they don't have to travel and do all the things that I've been doing and still do that really well for themselves without them having to do that, right?
Right.
But, and in my first year when people saw that, they didn't realize how hard it was, to actually hit that number, right?
Sure.
Even in my second year I had COVID with double pneumonia.
Right, I remember that.
I was in the hospital. I was, 10% chance survival. I was the craziest patient the hospital ever had, right? It's
wild. This guy's story.
No kidding. I was they were doing the steroid IV in my arm.
Damn.
In the same time, I was selling a John Hancock policy. No kidding. I'm like the arm, the arm right there. I'm using one hand and the arm right there, and I'm using one hand typing everything in with the headset on. And I'm talking to my client, and the nurse is looking at me as he's shooting the IV. Like, this guy's crazy as heck. Like, what the heck wrong with them?
Built differently, for sure. Shadi is built differently.
But what I'm trying to get at, a lot of people don't realize the thing that I was willing to do to make it happen, right? A couple of things I've done as well, don't be always by yourself. I was expected to die. Dude, I called my staff. I paid my staff before something happens to me. I make sure my staff is paid, right? So it did not, obviously,
struggling.
So there's a lot of things. You gotta take things serious sometimes, even if you're in deathbed.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Even if it's a little crazy.
Exactly. You just gotta take your goal seriously. Sure. Right. But man,
how bad do you want it? Right.
Really, how bad you want it. Right?
That's awesome.
So
what a story. That just adds to it. I feel like every time we do these podcasts, there's another one
extra to it.
Yeah, there's one more story that gets added to the mix that just.
Well, the next one I have another one I'll add. I just don't want to take a lot of your time.
No, please, yeah. I was gonna say we'll save it for the next podcast for sure.
Yeah, we're doing another one here in a minute though.
Yeah. We'll introduce it then.
Oh yeah.
Boys, thank you for joining me today, Fernando.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. I wish you all the success in this industry, and we'll be brothers in arms for sure. I'm here to stay myself. Shadi's already cemented himself
Appreciate it,
as a legend in the industry. So everybody on the podcast, thank you for listening. We'll see you guys next time.